Hi, it's Mr. Smith, and in this video I'll be giving you a video tour of eCampus and MyLab, which are the two places where you're going to be the most in this course. So let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, notice you've got the button here for learning materials. If you go under that, it'll tell you the materials for this course. I don't really see what that looks like for you, so I'm not sure what you do in there other than it does have your learning materials for each course. The Start Here button, um, actually, let's go ahead and look at the announcement here. So the first thing you're going to want to do when you go into the class is it'll be on the announcements page. And so here's the welcome that I did. There's a video introduction that I would encourage you to start with, and then read this, and it tells you where you need to go from there. Basically what you're going to find here in eCampus and then how to get started. So the first thing it's going to do is direct you to go to the syllabus and calendar. And notice there's a syllabus video you can watch, and it's where I go through the syllabus and point out the key details as far as what I've come up with. And this is actually your course syllabus and calendar. So I'd encourage you to print that out and read it, or at least go through it and highlight anything that is important and make a note of any questions you may have. I'd encourage you to print it out, especially the last two pages, which you're going to find the calendar, and that's where you can follow the assignments for each week, and it's real clear what's due each week. So you should keep it close to wherever you're doing assignments or anything you're using for assignments. All right, so let's go ahead and, let's see. We're going to click out of here. And the only other thing I wanted to mention, let me just go back here, is if you're new to college, maybe this is your first college course, and you're not really familiar with what a syllabus is, this is something that the district put together, and it explains the basics of a syllabus. And really it's just a contract between you and the instructor, and it tells you what you need to know to be successful in the class. So that's there if you're interested. So once you've read the syllabus, hopefully watch the syllabus video, at that point you're next directed to go to the Start Here button. So here, notice it says instructions for getting started. Read the introductory announcement, we just discussed that, and then read the syllabus. And then step 3, confirm your email address. It's really important that we can communicate throughout the session, not just with this class, but with any other classes you might be taking. And so you want to make sure that you know your eConnect address or email address, and that you're looking at it on a regular basis. Now for me, I have mine set up so that it goes directly to my smartphone with all my other email, and so that way when you send an email, I get it right away. So if you haven't done that, I would encourage you to do that. If you need help, you can talk to the people in IT. Click on Lessons, Assignments next, and so that's where you're going to start doing your assignments. Notice it says, I recommend you watch the video tour of eCampus and MyLab. Well, that's what we're doing here, so I'm assuming you probably already looked at that. Instructor information, this is the stuff that you also see in the syllabus, but it's here as well. This describes everything that's in this section. Actually, it's describing these titles over here and what's in each of those. And then you have technology requirements and tips for success. Those are found in every course, so you may want to look those over and see if there's anything there that you may want to know. So let's go ahead and move on. So the Start Here button, that's this one. We've done the syllabus. So next, we go to the lessons and assignments. So here's where you found the video tour of eCampus. And then if you click here on MyLab, that takes you to all the MyLab links. The other way to get there is using this link here. So I just want to go through the other links in eCampus before we go any further. So notice you can check your grades here in eCampus. You can email me using this link here. Discussion board. In the first week, I'll be sending out an email encouraging you to do an introduction and hopefully give you an opportunity to connect with at least one other student in the class. Student services, if you haven't gone in there, you may want to go in there and see what links are in there. You know, talks about advising and the success coaches and so on. So that's all student resources. And then technical help. Notice you have all the support that you can find right in here. So you should look through that. It's got some numbers and email addresses. Okay, so I think, let's see, did I notice the office hours, tutoring with 1T. If you meet with me in eCampus to get some help, that's where I'll set up a session. And so I think that's pretty much everything in eCampus. Let's go ahead and go back to lessons and assignments. And again, in MyLab, that's where you're going to be spending most of your time. So the first thing you'll want to do is run the browser check. By the way, I feel like I'm losing my voice. Hopefully I can get through the rest of this video here. I apologize for that. But anyway, so you run the browser check and you make sure that you have all the add-ins or whatever they call it, programs in order to use MyLab and all of its features. So you can see I already have everything. So once you've done that, and by the way, that's a good place to go if you ever have issues using MyLab throughout the semester. There's other things you can do like restarting your computer and reopening MyLab, but you can always rerun the browser check. Sometimes that'll fix a problem. But you know, just keep that in mind if you have any problems during the session. All right, so we're going to be you'll spend most of your time in assignments, but let's go into the other areas first. So you have eText. So that's obviously where you'll find your textbook online. It does take a minute or a little bit of time to load. This is your table of contents. And let's say we want to go to chapter 5, section 3. So this is the first page of 5.3. Now we can't really see the whole page very well because I've made a smaller window for this video, but as long as you have it opened to full size, it'll be the first page. You'll just see page by page, and you can click here to go from one page to the next. You can also print out pages. Notice if you go to here, you can print pages, and there's other things here. If you're interested in accessibility, you can look at what's under there. So let's go ahead and click out of here. Let's see. Yeah, we can just click out of that. Let's look at gradebook. Now the gradebook in MyLab is always going to be a little bit off just because of the way the settings are and the way some of the assignments are. The assignments that are video assignments are not treated the same as homework assignments, and so that's part of the reason. But anyway, you can at least see your scores on the different assignments in here. But again, as I stated in the introduction in eCampus, it's what I put in eCampus that you're going to want to look at as your true grade. After each test, I will update the grades in eCampus. All right, so let's go ahead and click out of here. Multimedia library, that's where you can find all the help features that come with the book. So again, let's go to section 5, and we'll just do chapter 5 and select all. And what you have here is animations. These are the textbook sections. These are PowerPoint notes. and then you have a bunch of videos. And so these are all the resources that come with the book for Chapter 5 in MyLab. And you can get to those through the multimedia library at any time. We'll also show you where you're going to see some of those as you do your homework. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Integration support is, you're only going to need to go there if you have some kind of problem and you need to talk to Pearson support. So they would have you go here. MyLab purchase options. If you want to purchase the book, you can click here. This is for anybody that wants an actual paper book. Notice the price is $65, so that would be an additional cost if you want to have that. Most people do just fine without the paper copy, but if that's what you want, you do have access to buy that. And oh boy, I messed up. Let's see. Okay, last thing, accessible resources. So if you're interested in accessibility, there are some links there that you can look at. Let's go ahead and go to assignments now. So again, this is where you're going to spend most of your time. And you can see you've got transitioning to college and online learning. So that might be worthwhile, especially if you're new to the college or online learning. So there's some information in there that might be helpful. Also, for most students that are pretty comfortable with computers, you can probably figure out most of the things as far as putting answers in. Now, when you have to do like the graph of a line, although actually I don't think we have to do that in here, so I think you'll be all right. But if for some reason you start having any issues with putting in answers, or that's something you're concerned about, then I would have you watch that. This is an introduction to the calculator that I recommend for this course. So it takes you through all the basics. And finally, we have a homework and the video sections. So let's go ahead and look at the 1.1 videos. So for each section, the first videos you'll see are mine, the ones that say 1T. So this is actually the video that I do in class, or a copy of what I do in class. And I should say it's basically a video where I go through a worksheet and we take notes for that section. And so for most students, if you watch the video and take notes, you should be able to go and do the homework. And then you also have help buttons in MyLab as well that give you additional help. Notice you also have, there's some other things in here, but the main thing I would point out is here's the book, or no, I'm sorry, that's the PowerPoint, and here's the book. You know, some people like to learn by reading the book and looking at the examples in the book. That's certainly one way that you can learn the material. There's the PowerPoint notes. You could go through those. And so this is two other ways. And then again, there's the videos that come with the book. Again, my recommendation, watch my videos, do the homework, and then you have these other resources as needed. So that would be my suggestion. Let's go back. And so once you do that, you'll go into the homework. Now I'm going to go to section 5. Let's see, which one is it? 5.2. So let's see how the homework works. Notice this one's due on June 11th, which is a Sunday before midnight. And notice if you're late, there's a 25% deduction. So that's going to be true until I think it's June 2nd. So again, I can't stress enough how important it is to do the assignments on time, but you can get at least 75% of the credit as long as you get it done by July 2nd. So here's your problems. There's a lot in this section because there's some really simple stuff. Things like adding integers and comparing numbers. Let me see if I can find the problem I'm looking for. Let's do this one here. All right, so A couple of things. So first of all, I want to show you, if I put in, I'm going to go ahead and put in the wrong answer here. So that was wrong. Gave me a tip. Let's just go ahead and put in another wrong answer. And I'm just going to put it in again. Notice it says final check. So most of the time you get 3 chances to get the problem right. So now notice I can click on similar question, or I can go to the next question. I'm going to go ahead and move on. I didn't like that problem. I'm just going to move on. Now this one here, let's see, what is 9 to the 3rd power? That's 729. So notice I got the first one wrong, or 25 wrong and 26 right. I get a green check. That's good. And if I get a red X, that means I missed that one. So let's go. Now there's a couple of ways you can get back to 25. You can click here and click on it. You can also go forward and backward here. Let's go back to 25. And of course you can click on the problems here as well. So there's 3 different ways. So anyway, on 25, I'm making a video. Let's click on similar question. And so we've got 81, which is the right answer. And notice now we have a green check mark. So the point I'm trying to make here is, as long as you're willing to go back and fix your answers, you can get 100% on every homework assignment. All right, I do want to show you a couple more things and we'll wrap this up. Notice if you are doing a problem and you don't know how to do it, you can click on Help Me Solve This, and it'll help you solve the problem that you have here. Now, sometimes you may like the problem that you have, because see, it'll help you solve this one and it'll give you a new one. So maybe you like this problem, so you go and view an example. And then once you view that example and go through it step by step, you can come back and click on Help Me Solve This. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pause this for a minute. I have to take care of something. Okay, sorry about that. I had to take care of something. So let's finish up here. So you can view an example that was we just talked about. You can also click on Get More Help. Now sometimes there'll be videos in here, and there may be other stuff, simulations, which are really just videos. You won't use StatCrunch, but you can click here to go to this section in the textbook and see other examples. You can also click on Ask My Instructor. Now, every once in a while students run into some challenging problems, like and maybe it's late at night or on the weekend and they just can't seem to work through it, and so sometimes they'll send me an email. Normally what I'll do is I'll send a written response if it's not too involved. If it's a more difficult problem, like a big long word problem, it'll send me the problem, and then you can also ask your question here. So this is a way that you can get some help. And depending on how many of these I get, I normally can get back to you pretty quickly, but it kind of depends on how many people are asking questions here. So I'll do my best to answer your questions. All right, so I think that is everything. There is one more thing I should probably show you here. Again, if you're concerned about accessibility, there's a link here you can read to see what they have to say about that. There's also a print button, and you can print out your homework and then put the answers in later. Now be careful. I've heard in the past, and it's been a long time, nobody's really talked about this. I don't know, maybe people aren't printing out their homework, but you just want to make sure that it's using the same numbers on the problems when you come back in. So, and let me know if you do use that and you don't have any issues with that. I'd like to know if that's working okay. There's a help center here if you have questions. I'm not sure, I haven't checked that out, but you might want to check that out if you're having any issues with MyLab, you can also go to their website where you just type in mymathlab.com and there's a place where you can ask questions there. All right, I think that's everything I wanted to share in this video tour. Please let me know if there's anything else I can do to help or if you have any questions.